Tunguska explosion, a disaster of unknown cause, which occurred at 7:17 on June 30th, 1908, near the Tunguska River in Podkamennaya, Evinkia, Siberia, Russia. The Tunguska phenomenon left more than 30 hypotheses and theories about the truth of what happened, some of which seemed reasonable and acceptable, such as the collision of a comet with Earth, and others were illogical, such as the explosion of a spaceship or a flying saucer over the region. The first Russian scientific missions were organized to investigate what happened about 19 years after the accident. Scientists did not venture to explore the affected area as they hesitated to go to an area full of swamps and very remote. Finally, when they reached it, they were astonished by the vast devastation they saw, as charred trees lay in rows along the horizon. They searched in vain for a volcanic crater in the area, trying to find fragments of a meteorite, asteroid, or space object. But they did not find anything. Geologist Leonid Kulik from the Soviet Academy of Sciences was the first to visit the site in 1927. When he heard from eyewitnesses in nearby villages, who spoke of seeing a fireball penetrate the sky with a terrifying noise, followed by an explosion that caused people to jump in terror. Kulik understood that something unprecedented had happened in the area, and the fallen trees were the only evidence of its occurrence. During the 14 years following the explosion, 4 other exploration missions were sent to Tunguska, headed by Kulik. They photographed the flattened trees and searched within swamps and ponds for meteorite fragments to no avail. Among the dozens of testimonies that were recorded, contradictory stories emerged. Almost half of the witnesses confirmed that they saw a fireball burning to the north, while others confirmed that it traveled through a western or northwestern direction. Despite this contradiction, Kulik seemed convinced that it was a meteorite that caused this destruction. Kulik died in 1942 as a prisoner of war, and the expeditions were discontinued. No one visited the area until the late 1940s, when Alexander Kazantsev, a Russian army engineer, wrote a short story in 1946 in which he hypothesized that the massive devastation could not have been caused by a meteorite, but rather by a nuclear explosion. Since man had not achieved a nuclear explosion in 1908, the cause must have been a spaceship or an exploding flying saucer. This story was republished in the Soviet Union several times, and young Siberian scientists tried to verify the validity of this theory, which was put in a book under the title "They expected to solve this mystery within 2 years." But they were wrong. 2 scientific missions were sent to the region in 1959 and 1960, with the aim of searching for evidence of a rise in the radioactive level and excavating the site in search of fragments of an explosive meteor without any physical evidence being found, which led scientists to assume that the issue was more complex than they imagined, and mystery remained surrounding the subject for 2 decades, especially since the area was closed and prohibited for foreigners to conduct research there related to Soviet military technology. Engineer Yuri Lavban devoted 12 years of his life to searching for the impact of the Tunguska meteorite, and he believes that it shed light on one of the biggest mysteries of the 20th century, despite doubts in the scientific community. Lavban heads the Tunguska Space Phenomenon Foundation in Krasnoyarsk. This institution includes 15 enthusiastic geologists, chemists, and physicists, in addition to specialists in mineralogy. And since 1994, they have been organizing scientific expeditions to the disaster site. According to Lavban's hypothesis, a collision occurred between a comet and a mysterious flying saucer at an altitude of 10 kilometers, which caused the disaster. Lavbin and his team confirm that during one of the missions late last July on the banks of Podkamanaya Tunguska, specifically between the villages of Baikit and Polygos, they found two strange black stones in the shape of equal-sided cubes, with each side measuring 5.1 meters. Lavbin said that these two stones are not, as they appear, of natural origin, but rather they appear to have emerged from flames, and their material reminds of an alloy used in building space launch rockets, whereas at the beginning of the 20th century, there were only airplanes made of plywood. The researcher believes that the two stones could be the remains of a flying saucer or even an extraterrestrial spacecraft. But at the same time, he acknowledges that the study of the two stones has not begun yet. Lavbin announced another discovery, which was the discovery of a huge white stone the size of a farm, embedded in the top of a rock in the middle of the forest that had been devastated.